The US president has branded India-US trade relationship as a one-sided disaster. In his post on Truth Social, the US president accused New Delhi of lopsided trade with Washington. To quote Trump from his Truth Social post, India buys most of its oil and military products from Russia, very little from the US. They have now offered to cut their tariffs to nothing, but it's getting late. They should have done so years ago. Just some simple facts for people to ponder. Do note that Trump's statement arrived soon after Modi's public show of solidarity with the Chinese and Russian presidents. This at the SCO summit in Tianjin, one that many Asians have viewed as egg in Washington's face. Interestingly, the Troika's show of strength has not just rattled the boss, but his entire team. Sample this. Peter Navarro has described the triad's show of unity as quote-unquote troublesome, while again referencing Modi's interactions with Xi and Putin as getting in bed with authoritarians. The White House trade advisor, who's now gaining the reputation of being Trump's attack dog, courtesy his repeated insults hurled at India, like Kremlin's laundromat, India funding Putin's war chest, or Ukraine being Modi's war, has now urged India to choose sides.
It was a shame to see Modi getting in bed as the leader of the biggest democracy in the world with the two biggest authoritarian dictators in the world, in Putin and Xi Jinping. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure what he's thinking, particularly since India has been in a Cold War and sometimes a hot war with China for decades.
That to choose US, Europe and Ukraine over China and Russia. Perhaps Navarro deserves a reminder that India, since the Cold War era, has followed a policy of non-alignment, one that evolved into multipolarity in recent times. But the frustrated attempts have not ended with just Peter Navarro. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was quick to downplay the SCO gathering. He labelled it as largely performative in nature. Makes one wonder if SCO was optics, then what was a failed Alaska summit? But Bessent also expressed confidence in resolving trade frictions with India, claiming that the two great countries will get this sorted. But most importantly, amid Trump's tariff tirade, it's the former US NSA, Jake Sullivan, who has exposed Trump's hypocrisy. Sullivan has slammed Trump's move to forge closer ties with Pakistan. He calls it one of the more underreported stories in Trump's foreign policy. The ex-US NSA accused Trump of throwing away ties with India. This over his family's business deals in Pakistan, calling it a huge strategic harm to the United States. In an interview to a YouTube channel, Sullivan made this response. Interestingly, the question also mentioned the Trump family's Bitcoin business with Pakistan and Tim Cook's Apple factories in India, raising the big burning question: is Donald Trump correct about the trade with India being one-sided? The simple answer is no. Why? The truth is that the US too is profiting big from India. The Global Trade Research Initiative, or GTRI's analysis has thrown up some rather shocking figures. It reveals a trade surplus of $35 to $40 billion for the US. This when all earnings are considered. Don't forget, the US benefits tremendously from India's tech, finance and education sectors. So as per Trump, the US faces a trade deficit worth $45 billion. But the overall commercial balance maintains a surplus of $35 to $40 billion, something that Trump is failing to see or acknowledge. GTRI has already done the data crunching. Facts first. To begin with, American tech companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon and Apple generate $15 to $20 billion annually from India's tech sector. Secondly, McDonald's, Coca-Cola and other American companies earn over $15 billion from India. In fact, Wall Street financial institutions and consulting firms collect between $10 to $15 billion annually. So much so, global capability centers of Walmart, IBM, Dell and others generate $15 to $20 billion in the US. Defense agreements, pharmaceutical patents, Hollywood films and streaming services are other sources of additional revenue to the United States as well. Also, don't forget, Indian students attending US universities contribute more than $25 billion annually as education fee. If this is not how the US economy is gaining, then what is? Begs the question, is Trump's vision skewed by trade? What the US president and his administration must realize is that trade deals don't operate on deadlines, and that India's diplomatic maneuvers with China or Russia have less to do with the Trumpian trade crisis and more to do with strategic and economic calculations with China, an unpredictable neighbor, and Russia, a time-tested ally.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.